It's over 50 here. I just wanted to check in. I haven't made one of these videos in a while. The weather hasn't really been that cooperative up here in the Northeast, but I just wanted to discuss a little bit about choosing the right school for you and signs that you know maybe you should leave. So choosing the right school. So if you want to be a sport competitor, if you want to do sport jiu-jitsu, you should join a specific sport jiu-jitsu style school. If you want to do more of a, if you're interested in the self-defense aspect, you want to choose more of a Gracie self-defense school, or, a school that's more maybe MMA oriented. Then there's schools that have kickboxing. They offer both. I remember at Marcelo's, I didn't want to go there because they didn't have a kickboxing class. It was just jiu-jitsu, and it's kind of expensive. It's over $200 a month. But I wanted the best, sport jiu-jitsu school I could find, because I felt that, if you're great at sport jiu-jitsu, you'll probably be able to take care of yourself in a street situation. You want to find a school that, if you're out of shape, it has a lot of warm-ups, so it's going to be the type of school that focuses on fitness and that'll get you into shape. Some schools, they don't focus on that. Being fit kind of depends on your own, and I think these are the higher level schools, right? Schools that have a lot of competitors, things like that. Everybody's already in shape. Everybody already does their own conditioning. They don't really need to go and have this workout when they go to class. I'm personally that way. I do weightlifting after class. Before class, I run around a little bit. I get myself warmed up, but I don't need to go through like a CrossFit class. But there are people that enjoy that, and there are schools that have more of that. I remember I went to a school once, and the warm-ups were so crazy, and I was out of shape because I had missed some time. I was injured, but I crawled through. By the end of the warm-ups, when we started rolling, I was spent. But then I thought to myself, well, how good is that for getting better at jiu-jitsu? Then your jiu-jitsu is just based on how good of shape you're in, which you do need a certain baseline of fitness, but at the same time, it doesn't have to be CrossFit level. It doesn't have to be triathlon. It just needs to be a certain baseline so you can execute the movements properly and you don't get lazy while you're training. You don't want to have lazy jiu-jitsu either. But I digress. So once you find the school that's the right fit for you, whether it's a sports school, MMA, they have a kickboxing class, or they have yoga for your wife, or, you got to find the right school. They have a good kids class maybe, you have a family. So once you find the right school, then you need to find the right type of instructor that you click with, as well as the right type of school owner. Because at the end of the day, he controls the promotions and what happens. We let ourselves get in. We're used to being uncomfortable. We're used to being in bad positions. And sometimes we get into a relationship with a school owner that's not healthy. For whatever reason, they don't like you, or maybe you don't like them. They're annoying, or you're just clashing. You can't even put your finger on it. You feel like this is just somebody I'm trying to get along with. I'm trying to talk with and make a connection, but it doesn't really ever seem to be going anywhere. And then there's these different signs that you start to get, like not getting promoted when you should. And I remember being at a school and they were like, oh, I'm never promoting this guy. The teacher told me in private. And I'm like, but he's a really good blue belt. I mean, he's basically like a purple belt, and you're not going to promote him just because you don't like him. That's such an egotistical power trip as far as I'm concerned. If you're at a school and you're going consistently over the years, you should get promoted. Not quickly, but there should be growth. If you're not getting promoted and you feel the skill is there, you might want to find a new school. Another thing to look for is if the instructor yells at you or he's short with you. You're paying good money every month to be there, and if you're trying really hard to learn and you're getting yelled at or being spoken down to all the time in a very condescending manner, me personally, I would look for another school. Being in relationships, it's like being in a relationship when you go to these different schools. You don't know how it's going to work out. It's like dating. It's like martial dating. So you go to the school, you go there for a few months, and then you realize it's not a good fit. But you tough it out and you try to stay as long as you can. That's where I always advise, move on. It's just like dating. You don't want to tough things out, right? We're there to enjoy ourselves and to grow and to self-cultivate. And if you feel like you're trying to work things out or you need talks in the back with the teacher to, I just don't even think it's worth putting the effort, you know. And I don't think finding a school that's a perfect fit is easy. It's hard. You know, that's why I'm always jealous of people that, you know, like in my school, a lot of the black belts have been there since they started. You know, I wish I could have done that. I wish I could have just started at Codella Academy, but, you know, fate had it otherwise. I mean, I wish I could have started when I was 16, right, or younger. But just take the signs. Don't think that, you know, you're crazy or whatever. Realize this might not be a good fit. Chances are it's not going to be a good fit. I mean, how many of you are at the same school where you got your black belt as when you started? I'm sure it's a very low percentage. So if you notice any friction with your teacher, again, don't try to tough it out. There's better things in life. You're there to have a good time. You're not there to be upset. I was at a school, my wife used to joke around. She goes, all right, don't cry tonight, you know, because it was so traumatic, you know, the treatment. And, you know, I toughed it out because I thought that's what martial arts training is. But it's not getting abused, you know, by a teacher that's a little bit too egotistical. And some of the other negatives could be is if you're in a big school and the teacher's famous and he doesn't know who you are because there's 300 students there, you know, then you could look to cling on with a brown belt or a purple belt that can guide you up through the ranks. But again, I went to a Kung Fu school. It was a huge school. And the teacher, you know, barely knows who you are, and he can't polish your Kung Fu. So if you're in a specific position or posture, if you're doing a movement wrong, he doesn't even see it. So you could be there practicing, doing your movements wrong. And then it becomes a big waste of time. Then I switched schools, and I went with another monk, a young guy. He just opened. There was 6 students, me and 6 students. And he made our Kung Fu perfect. So don't be in a school where the teacher doesn't know who you are. We used to joke around and say you're just a barcode until you're a purple belt competitor, you know, at some schools. But again, those are the downsides of competitor schools. If you're in a school where the teacher is like always dating different students, I mean, again, this is a bad sign. Can a teacher date a student? I'm not totally against it, but it shouldn't happen over and over. If it becomes a pattern, that's an issue as far as I'm concerned. And if the teacher's hitting on your girlfriend or your wife or your daughter, well, then you know it's a quick leave. So I just want to get these things out in the open. I think when you first start out, you don't realize it. You go to a school, you think everything, it's like puppy love. You know, you love the school, and then as you get to know the instructors and the people, you realize you don't really fit in there for whatever reason. They might be tech guys, you might be a construction worker, or vice versa, or who knows what the issue could be. You know, you might be a local, they're from out of town, they don't like locals. There's all these different things. So my advice to you is if you smell smoke, there's probably a fire, and you don't have to stay at any one school. You know, I could get more into detail about why I left different schools, but it's really not important. At the end of the day, it's like analyzing why you left different relationships when you were dating. You know what? They weren't at the right place at the right time. It just wasn't a good fit. She didn't want to get married. She didn't want a boyfriend, or she had kids and she didn't, you know, want to get serious with you. Schools are the same way. So if you find a good school, stick with it. And if you find a school that you're getting these symptoms, I would look for something else. And also nowadays there's schools everywhere, so it's not going to be hard for you to find a different school. So I hope this helps some of you on your journey. I know I haven't made a video like this in a while, but more to come. I have a new rash guard out. I helped design it. I really think it came out cool, and I'll put the link in the description if you guys want to check it out. They have a lot of great gear, ex-Martial. You can get you know, all kinds of no-gi and MMA stuff. Anything you buy on that site, you just put my code Jits over 50, and you're good to go for 15% off. Or you could just buy me a coffee. Either way, I appreciate everybody. Thanks for supporting, and please like, share, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you.